Hi, Democrats. Today is Wednesday, March 1st, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Wednesday and happy Women's History Month. So, in this month, not today, got other things to talk about today, but I will be focusing on the accomplishments and achievements of women throughout history, and a lot of my focus will be on Oklahoma. But today, I want to talk about something that I can't get away from. I pick up the paper, I listen to the radio, I watch TV, and everybody's talking about child labor. So today, I want to give a little bit of a history lesson because Dr. Santana, which we've all heard this saying, but I had to go find out who to credit. It's Dr. Santana, who was a Harvard philosopher, came up with the saying, "Those that do not learn their history are doomed to repeat it." We've all heard that. And it's true. It is so true. So today's history lesson is about the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire from 2011, March of 2011. So 112 years ago this month. I hope that I'm not the only one who knows about this. I hope that there are other people who know about this, learned about it in history. In Greenwich Village, New York, in 2011, that's not right, 1911. Whew, what is wrong with me? In 1911, there was a garment factory that employed mostly Jewish and Italian women. Now, they had men and they had folks who weren't Jewish and Italian, but predominantly it was Jewish and Italian immigrants. And they made fashionable ladies' shirts. That's what they made. But they were immigrant young women. They had folks on record working between the ages of 14 and 23, working in this factory. The bosses wanted to make sure that they stayed for as many hours as they needed to meet their quota. And so they locked the doors in, they locked them in, they didn't give them breaks, all of the horrible things that happened before we had labor laws. A fire started and folks were trapped. They were trapped in. Some people were able to get on the elevator and escape. Some people died on their way down in the elevator. Some people inhaled smoke and caught on fire. And some desperate folks actually jumped out of the window. The problem is that they were on the 8th and 9th floor. In total, they had 146 people die as a result of this fire. And the lessons learned from this was the things I want to talk about from this are child labor, the treatment of immigrants, and labor laws. So why do folks employ child labor and why do they employ immigrants? It's usually because they're cheaper and because they're breaking the rules and their power dynamic is a little crazy. They're a little bit more docile and less likely to buck the rules, less likely to complain or go and talk somewhere else. That's what was happening in 1911. And 146 people died in a fire because they were exploited labor. And that's what they were. They were exploited labor. As a result of that, the 54-hour work week became a thing, which eventually has worked its way down to a 35 or 40 work week. But that was the first thing, the first move towards making sure people aren't super tired and aren't overworked or exploited by their bosses. And then we had child labor laws. And as a result of that fire, there was also a union started. A garment workers union was started as a result of that. Why am I telling this story today? Because since 2015, there has been an upshot of violations of child labor laws, right? Where kids are being worked too many hours. They're being hired to work in construction, meat packing, cleaning machines, or even just fast food that we know about or groceries that we know about, but keeping them until late hours. Just dangerous situations for children. That's what's happening right now. And it's as if this happened a really long time ago. It's not ancient history. The last known survivor of the Triangle Factory fire just died in 2001. So we don't have to look very far back to know how dangerous child labor, exploitation of child labor is. Yet, there are some states who are right now, they have bills on their floor. They're contemplating bills to expand the number of hours that kids can work, to expand the types of places where kids can work, to make it okay for construction and meat packing and cleaning heavy machinery. And in some states, I'm looking at you, Iowa, they're trying to make it where if a child gets hurt at work, the company is not liable. So, how am I bringing this all the way back to Oklahoma? Oklahoma is guilty of some child labor violations. In 2015, as a nation, there were cases brought on behalf of 1,012 kids. In 2022, there were cases brought on behalf of 3,876 kids. The number is growing. How many kids are being worked in dangerous situations? So I talk about that because everybody's talking about it. But then I think about Oklahoma, where we pretend to care about kids, where we say we care about kids, and we use kids as any excuse or any heinous legislation that we want to put forth. We care about kids. So we care about kids so much that House Bill 1935 passed out of the House today, which is appropriating $300 million towards school vouchers. $300 million. Sounds like a lot. It will benefit 60,000 kids. Again, sounds like a lot. But there are 700,000 school-age kids in Oklahoma. 700,000. And so that $300 million is just going to benefit 8%. Less than 10%. And so I say that to say, do we care about kids or do we care about certain kids? That's the question that we have to ask. Also, we have to ask, is it okay to hire 15-year-old Tommy and have him working heavy machinery? And while he's working that heavy machinery, if God forbid he gets hurt, it's his fault. It's his problem. The company is not liable. Do we care about kids or do we care about some kids? Because the reality of it is that the kids most often exploited are immigrant kids. And in today's world, it's immigrant kids from south of the border. So Mexican children, South American children. Are those the kids we don't care about? If we don't learn from our history, we are doomed to repeat it. And it's not ancient history. We cannot let child labor laws be taken back to before 1911. We can't. Just as we cannot let our legislator look out for less than 10% of our kids. Either we care about kids or we don't. And I just wish they'd be honest about it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15. You guys have a great evening.